So we'll go ahead and call our meeting to order, and we start out with the pledge to the flag.
Okay, before you go,
Okay.
um,
I'm sorry, I didn't say hello, Rick.
hey Mayor,
Mr. Gray.
can you move the camera away from? I think that's a window you're in front of.
No, I'm going to get my ear.
No, the camera, because it's bright behind you. So
No,
if you
that's a
move,
light. It's
yeah,
a
if you
light.
move it, yeah, there we go. Show up better when when the light's not in there.
I had to get out of the kitchen because they're getting ready to eat, and I didn't want you to hear all that dinner talk.
Oh, you're just gonna have to tell them to be quiet for a little while. I say you're just gonna have to tell them to be quiet for a little while.
Oh no, somebody in here pays the mortgage, so.
Oh, okay. In that case, thank
How's
you.
that? Is that better?
That is better. Thank you.
Flashing or what? Okay, can I go now? So we'll start with the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We also pause for a moment of silence and remembrance and reflection of so much that has gone on in the past week, right? And even the past few months, wars and bombings and just tragedies in New York, and then anything that has affected you close. So we'll just pause just for a moment of silence. All righty, thank you so much. Thanks so much for being here at our town council meeting on April the 13th, our Town of Edmonston Council meeting on April the 13th. And we usually start our council meeting with public comment. That way you don't have to labor and stay through the entire meeting. If you have things to do, or if you want to just give us a cheers or a reprimand or anything like that. So I see that I have Miss Dina here and Miss Megan. And hi, and Jonah. So, or Yona. And so if anyone from the public would like to speak, I ask that you say your name, your first and last name, and your address, or if you're a resident of the town of Edmonston, or business, or whatever your affiliation.
Okay.
Miss Dina?
Okay. Dina DeGenia. I'm on 47th Avenue. I am a 22-year Edmonston resident. I have a major issue that I spoke with the mayor about today with regards to Airbnbs, not just next door to me or on my street, but in the town of Edmonston, period. In particular for myself, and I'll make it really quick, I'm against it because there was a shooting at the Airbnb that took place to my home, and I'm against it. So I'm going full force in ensuring that that no longer happens. So Mayor was gracious to take my calls and gripes today. And she actually provided a temporary resolution. And I just look forward to that being a permanent one in the near future. So I just don't think that Edmonston is a town for Airbnb. These are longtime residences that have lived here longer than me. And some are much newer, but we pay too much property taxes to in our home. And I refuse to be afraid living in my home and coming home to the unknown. So that's basically it.
Thank you so much for your comments and your feedback. I did speak with the chief right away after talking with you, and encourage you if you have your concerns or your questions, feel free to reach out to the chief, and he'll be happy to talk with you. Okay.
Can I
Thank you.
ask, what, could you spell your last name for me, please? For the records, this is Avery Gray, the town clerk.
Sure, it's D as in Delta, Z as in zebra, I as in India, D, Z, I again, E as in Echo, N as in Nancy, Y as in Yankee, O as in Oscar.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was an easy last name.
I would never got it. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. And is there anyone else from the public that would like to speak?
I'll introduce myself. I don't have a presentation or a comment, just was hoping to attend the budget meeting. So my name's Megan Bacco. I'm the Executive Director of Anacostia Trails Heritage Area, and the town of Edmonston is a town member of our regional organization, and here to listen into the meeting. Thank you.
Thanks for being here, Megan. I think this is the second time, right?
I try and show up every once in a while.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Good to have you here tonight. Anyone else? We have, yep, go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor Gant. My name is Alberto Zagata. Once again, I'm with PEPCO, and I'm just here to see if there are any issues that are affecting your residents. And I'll leave my contact information in the chat just in case anyone wants to reach out to me. And thank you again for your service, Mayor.
On the floor.
Actually, I do have a quick question. With the work that is going on, will there be any cleanup in between? There's so many nails and screws and pebble, it's stuff all over the place in the streets, in particular the driveways. I know it comes with the work because they're doing the overhaul of everything, but is that a part of that effort? Are you guys a part of that effort?
If it's something that's PEPCO related, then I would have to see if we're doing any sort of work in the town.
Alberto, this is Rod. It's WSSC doing water main replacement. So if there's anything that PEPCO is doing with it, it'd be associated with something with the water mains, but it is WSSC, and we can, Dina, we can reach out to them and make sure we say to them again to do that cleanup and make sure that they're picking up those nails and gravel. So thank you. They're on your street today, I know, tomorrow, so for sure.
Well, thank you for that clarification, Mr. Barnes.
Thank you. We definitely don't want nails and tires and so on. So I think that's all of our guests. I know we have some, okay. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? And if not, we will move on to our public hearing. It's the introduction of our ordinance 2022-OR-3 to appropriate and adopt the annual budget for fiscal year 22-23.
Mayor, it's exciting that you got down to there that quick, but we have a public hearing to talk about the annual budget first.
Oh, you know what? I read the wrong thing. And that's why I was looking like 22-23.
No, we do have that ordinance to introduce tonight, but
no,
just a little bit later.
Not at the time. That's why, yeah. I kind of read my script ahead of time. And,
I gotcha.
So it's the proposed FY 22-23 annual budget. And Mr. Barnes is going to, it's just to break everything down so that it's the public hearing so that our residents and council members can remember. And Mr. Barnes, take it away.
Thank you, Mayor. We're excited to always get to this point where we've had a number of work sessions to discuss how we move forward with the proposed FY 22-23 budget that was outlined and laid out by the mayor over time and one of her duties. And it's one of the biggest policy decisions that the mayor and council make each year as they try to move forward with the town. This year has been a little bit more fun because we not only have a lot of grant projects going on, we have some additional funding with the ARPA funds. And so Mayor and Council have been working on that. We've incorporated that right into our budget. I did our first annual report today and reported our expenditure for the police cruiser. Avery can give a report a little bit later. We have received somewhere around 35 surveys on the ARPA funds. And so she's tabulated those and can share that information in a little bit with you on the priorities that the folks are interested in. As Megan indicated, we are a member of ATHA and we budget every year for that membership. And so we've budgeted again this year. Overall, our budget is in terms of expenditures, 3.3 million. And we take in 1.7 million in revenue. We take in $655,000 in grant funding, 734,000 in the ARPA funds. And we'll need to carry over to balance our budget this year as it stands and as it's proposed currently, approximately $244,000 of cash on hand that we would end this fiscal year, June 30th, with doing that, which I predict we will do, although it's each year we've been eating into that carryover. And so we do need to keep continuing to work and explore new revenue sources. I know we have that one coming potentially with the speed camera program. We've talked about adding another red light camera at the other intersection where we have a signal. And so we just need to keep, because you haven't, again, this budget is proposed, and I would encourage the residents, if they're interested in seeing all the details of the budget, go out on our website, edmonstonmd.gov, and you'll find what's called the Reader's Guide to the proposed FY 22-23 budget. In that Reader's Guide, you'll find everything you ever wanted to know about our budget, about our demographics, about how we compare to other towns, about our salaries, our equipment. It's got all kinds of comprehensive information about what it is, what municipal budgeting is all about with some definitions. It's a great resource. It's a tool that I learned about many, many years ago, and I've just continued to utilize it over time, and I get lots of compliments about that. So I'm happy. This is tonight, you're introducing the budget. You'll ordinance that would propose to adopt this eventually in the May meeting. And so this is the opportunity for obviously feedback from the residents, although I don't see very many residents signed on at this point, but it also provides yet an opportunity for the next month for the council to evaluate and change if you need to before we finally adopt in our May meeting. I'm happy to answer any questions, or I can go on, for a very long time, Mayor, because this is one of my most favorite parts of my job, and I really do enjoy the dedication and hard work that you folks put into this process, and so I'm happy to answer any questions.
Well, just in case there are any questions beforehand, I'd just like to say for the record that Mr. Barnes does an exceptional job, especially reminding the council of the work, the good work that they do. And we do a whole reflection of the year. And it's amazing how much is accomplished. And I say the council because the council does the work, but we also have a strong, supportive staff. Mr. Barnes and Ms. Avery and our chief and police officers, they take care of making all of us council members look pretty good, I think. So if any resident has an opportunity, or Megan, if you have an opportunity, read through that book that we have, a review, just that portion. You can look through the other things as well, but that portion is amazing. And it really touches my heart to see what we've done. We have photos and background on what we've done. So I give kudos and shout out and 50,000, is that a number? 50,000 high fives to the staff for the work of putting all of this together, all of the budget and everything together. Make my life easy. So if there are any comments, questions, concerns, first from our residents or guests, and then council. If not, council, any questions, concerns, comments? If not, Mr. Barnes, you did an excellent job presenting this evening, and I will close our public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right. And so we'll move on. There is no old business unless someone brings something up later on, but there's no old business. So we have new business, which is our meeting minutes. And so at this time, I will accept a motion to approve our March 9th, 2022 work session meeting minutes, as well as our March 9th, 2022 regular council meeting minutes. And our March 15th, 2022 work session meeting minutes, as well as March 22nd, 2022 work session meeting minutes, March 22nd, 2022 closed session meetings, and March 24th, 2022 work session meeting minutes. I will accept a motion to approve those meeting minutes.
I'll make the motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you so much, Ms. McCulley, and second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye to approve the meeting minutes.
Aye.
All right, motion approved. And we had so many because of our budget meetings, as well as a ARPA funds meeting. Now, the next item is the introduction of our ordinance 2022-OR-3, which is to appropriate and adopt the annual budget for fiscal year 22-23. And this is the introduction, council. So at this time, I'll accept a motion I'll accept a motion for the introduction of our 22-23 budget.
I'll make the motion.
Everyone is just so polite. Is there a second? Ms. McCulley made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Ms. McCulley made the motion, second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Thank you. Motion approved. The next item is the consideration of purchasing a 2021 Chevrolet pickup from Sport Chevrolet Company in Silver Spring on the state contract for $26,000. And this will be using our ARPA funds, and we spoke about that during one of our budget meetings, but I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Barnes, and this will be for Public Works.
Correct, Mayor. This was one of the priorities you set as you were going through your ARPA reviews and talking about some of the things that needed to be replaced. This is replacing a 2008 Chevrolet pickup that currently is being used as a salt truck. We're going to keep it for that purpose because the salt is so abrasive to the bed and to the overall condition of the truck. The rust is coming fast. And so this truck, the new truck, which is a 4x4 extended cab, so there'll be room for a couple little jump seats that will allow for extra riding around when we have events particularly. And so we would not put this into service so much as more of a backup to what the current truck is, and only use when we absolutely need to, and when that other truck eventually is gone. I'm happy to answer any questions. And I'm sorry, the total amount is actually 26,923. The salesman sent me a updated list.
It was a $27,000 pickup. Ms. Chester?
I had two questions. So one question was, when we were talking about getting the new police cruiser, there were a lot of like extra add-ons that are needed. Will this vehicle need any kind of special add-ons to make it appropriate for public works? Do they need special lights or?
No, this is coming all fully equipped. It'll get decals put on the side, and that's essentially it. We could put some kind of beam, thing on the top.
The bar, caution.
Thank you.
Yellow
yes,
bar.
on the top, but other than that, no.
Did you say it was a four-wheel drive?
Yes.
Is that, like, do we need that? I know it can make the fuel efficiency a little bit lower.
Yeah, the reason we chose the four-wheel drive is for winter. Public Works it does a lot of salting and sanding and plowing. This truck could be modified and a plow could be put on it if we had to, wanted to go into service for that purpose. But we're not proposing that at this time because the other two trucks currently have plows for them. So, but yeah, that's the main reason that we chose the 4x4. But you're right, it does get a little bit less fuel efficiency. I wanted to get electric, but the order time on the electrics is really long. So, yeah.
Thanks.
Good questions, Ms. Chester. Thank you so much. Any more questions? Concerns? All right, fantastic. So at this time, I will accept a motion to consider the purchase of the 2021 Chevy pickup.
Can I ask one more question? The motion is to consider it, so it's not to make the purchase. Sorry, just so I understand the process.
No, we consider it, and then we're using the ARPA funds. So we consider it, it's almost like the introduction. So the consideration is like the introduction. We're putting it on the table.
And so are we voting to put it on the table, or we're voting to buy it or not? Sorry, I'm just having a hard time.
We are voting to buy it. With your vote today, you are voting to buy it, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We're using the funds, correct?
Your questions are great, Ms. Chester. That's right. Be clear on what you're doing. That's a smart council member. So yeah.
I'll make the motion at the new adjusted price of 26, whatever.
27,000, yeah.
27,000 that we consider it and follow through by buying it.
There's a second?
I will second.
I'll second.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Johnson.
Ms. McCully made the motion, second by Ms. Chester. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 All right, thank you very much. Thank you for your leadership tonight, Ms. McCully. All right, and so our next item is our police report from our police chief.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Because I don't see anyone. All right. I want to share the statistical report for the police department for the month of March 2022. With respect to crime, during the month of March, there were no homicides, no forcible rapes, no felony assaults, 1 burglary, 2 auto thefts, no simple assaults, no thefts, no theft from auto, for a total of 3 crimes reported to the police during the month of March 2022. With respect to incidentals, officers wrote 32 parking tickets. There were 253 moving tickets written. There were 2 traffic arrests. There were 3 criminal arrests, 67 premise checks, 106 traffic stops, 36 vehicles were impounded. There were 168 calls for police services. There were 3 vehicles recovered, stolen by the officers. And the red light camera program, 251 citations were created as a result of our red light camera program. With respect to code compliance, there were no municipal infractions written during the month. There were 20 violation warning letters, no stop work orders, 1 rental inspection, 15 parking tickets, 25 home and business inspections, 10 code violation follow-ups, 4 code violation vehicle impounds. And then just language at the bottom of the report. So we had a pretty good month on the month of March 2022. Just want to share a little event that occurred in the town that you might be aware about the fact that it occurred. Last week, 2 pit bull terriers were running through the town, what we call at large. In other words, there was no leash on them and there was no supervision by, a adult or juvenile who's capable of handling animals. We were provided with the information from Councilmember McCauley about the fact that there were a couple of pit bulls on 52nd Avenue. So we came out, somebody laughing. We came out and went through a couple of exercises trying to get the dogs, and I just want to share information about the fact that these animals, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a pit bull, it could be any animal. We want to stay away from the animal and want to notify the police and notify animal control. And they'll come out and they will secure the animal and try to take the animal to their office to have them tested to see if they're rabid, to see if they have their shots and all these other kind of things. But I'm just going to talk about a couple of little things that I want you to kind of help pay attention to. If you happen to come across an animal running at large, especially a dog, do not run. Do not establish direct eye contact. Stand sideways so as to present a smaller kind of a target, if you will. Give firm commands to the animal, like no, go, stop. Whatever you do, try to remain calm. Try to distract the animal. It could be throwing something away or acting like you're doing something other than, interacting with the animal. If you can climb on top of something, do that, like climbing a tree or climbing over a fence or climbing on top of a car. If the animal is close to you, make a fist. And the reason that you're making a fist is so that if the animal does decide to bite, they'll be biting a solid fist as opposed to you having your hands out and they bite in one of your fingers. Always protect your face and your neck area. If you can, and time permits, take one of your shoes off and put them on your hands. So if the animal gets ready to bite, you extend your hand, they'll be biting the shoe as opposed to biting your hand or arm. Those are just a few things that I want folks to, pay attention to. If so happen, you come in contact with an animal running at large. All right, man, that's all I have for the month of March.
Chief, thank you for your tips. Those are really good tips. I'd like, if we could, to put that in our next newsletter or whatever we send out. I think those are really good tips. Any comments or questions for the chief?
Yeah, I didn't see it, but one of the neighbors said the dogs, they're back, they're at the house. They never were taken away. And were out running loose again yesterday. And I do know they're back at the house because I can hear them, and I was able to see them. So they're still there. I guess
Okay.
no one came up to pick them up or to.
All right, we'll follow up in the morning. Okay, all right.
Chief, I have a quick question about the text at the bottom of the code compliance stat sheet. And it describes some walking that the code compliance officers had done up and down some of the particular streets. And I was just curious about whether their focus was on the new parking regulations and violators of that new ordinance, because that is new on 51st Avenue, or if it was other kind of code compliance issues that you were looking at.
One of the things that the code compliance folks are doing now is, as opposed to driving, they're walking. And this particular occasion during the month, they walked from Decatur down 51st Avenue, paying attention to everything and not just some specific things. Someone putting a fence up, doing construction on a house, roof on, cars parked in violation, and folks parked in violation of the no parking signs for individuals who are not residents. So all of those things are taken into consideration during the walk. And for one reason or another, you see more when you're walking. And the folks who live along 51st and Crittenden all the way down to 52nd Avenue, they have an opportunity to see and engage you as well. So I like the fact that, we're doing that. And we're going to, over the next month or so, we're going to do that in every little area. I don't want to walk too far away from the car, but a block or two, and then come back, move the car a block or two. Like I said, you see more, and I appreciate the fact that they're being vigilant.
Hopefully that will also carry over to the police department, that the guys will park and walk a couple blocks and then move and walk a couple blocks. Would that be also something that they will do, Chief?
We can certainly consider that. I've talked to the officers about that since, we first started doing our business. And nobody actually has a problem with it, but the only caveat is they have to be mobile very quickly, so they can't walk far. But parking at one corner, say they park at 52nd Avenue in Decatur, and they walk down to Crittenden, and then they walk back to the car. But they want to be in an area reasonably proximate to the car to go back in case there's a call for police service or something like that. Back a few years ago, there were officers whose job it was to walk. So they weren't assigned calls for service. And that's all you would see them doing. But, I like that. We call that a tactic. You get closer to the residents, closer to visitors. And once again, you get to see more. So, I will broach the subject with the understanding that I really don't want them to walk too far away from the car, because they have to run back to the car if they get a call for police service. But, I'll share that.
And Rod, how about our public works? It'd be nice if, because they can get out, they can pick up trash. And it'd be a lot easier for them to walk down Decatur Street and pick up and then go to the next block. And it'd be nice to see that happening.
Absolutely. It's a great suggestion, Betsy. We will we'll implement and get them doing that. So you see that, because they can grab a bag their picker and just take out, and they don't, they're not like the police officers where they have to have an emergency situation come up, but if they have the truck close by, they can get back to it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the great ideas because especially during the summer, more people are out and more trash is dumped.
Yep.
And just from driving around, there's just too much trash that we've seen. And as far as the police department, we've talked about community policing. When we interviewed the police officers, that's one of the things that we said. And it's time to see that, as well as the fact that we're getting bicycles. And we have one. So it'll be great to see one of the officers on it when the weather is good, however you schedule it. But we have to start getting out and touching the community. We have to be the examples of it. So
I think also when we have a couple officers on at the same time, one can be out patrolling in their cruiser, the other one can be walking the neighborhood. That way, if something does come up, we still have someone in town hall, plus we still have someone on the street. And that would help out the officer get back to his cruiser.
Yeah, we have overlap days, right, Chief?
Yes, ma'am. Wednesday is our overlap day, and everyone works on Wednesday. Some come in at noon, others come in at 5, but on Wednesdays, everybody's working.
That'd be a perfect day to do it, and not have to worry too much about a call coming in and no one be able to respond.
Right. Yes.
Can we pick up on Buchanan Street? The parking was getting somewhat better, and now it's kind of slipping way back where the vehicles are double parking out there again on Buchanan and 51st, and
it is getting bad. During the caravan, a couple of residents were really crying, saying how difficult it is for them to get their parking spaces, or just seeing how the businesses bring the cars and park on their street. So I don't know what we can do. I know she's part-time and Eric is full-time, but he is training. But also our officers are code enforcement as well. So I think we should, I don't know if you can create a sting or something, but they should be uncomfortable in doing that. During the caravan, one of the businesses was on Crittenden, and the drop-off was on Crittenden and the pickup was on Crittenden. I asked him if he was a resident, and he said no. And I said, oh, you're just picking up supplies? And it was a yes. So that was on Crittenden. His business was on Buchanan. So that's an issue. It's pretty bad. So be creative, Chief, please, and see what we can come up with dealing with that issue there.
All right, let me put this in the record. I've had a number of conversations. This is something we deal with all day, every day. I've had a number of conversations with Mr. Johnson where we have talked about, Mr. Johnson, you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, sir. And we've had a whole lot of conversations about the ebb and flow of the traffic and the traffic violations that occur along Buchanan, 51st Avenue, and Tanglewood and the other locations. We have the officer sit up at the top of Buchanan, and then he'll come down to Tanglewood and he'll turn around and go back. And at least every 15 to 20 minutes, we come through there. But a lot of times, in between the time we're not there, something may happen. We would almost have to literally sit there all day, because every time the light changes, a new car comes down the street. And I may set up something like that where I assign a car, especially on the overlap day. Hey, we're gonna sit on Buchanan and we're not gonna move. anybody in violation, we're going to do the right thing. And we can do that. And the same thing about the cars. Somebody working on a car and they drive the car over to Crittenden. That's been going on since the beginning of time. When we catch them, we put a ticket on the car and we impound it. Our officer Ortiz has been a real stickler for doing that. If you all would, take a look at our monthly report where we talk about the number of traffic impounds, we impound more cars in 1 month than there have been years where we haven't impounded this many cars. Thousands of them to date, not thousands, but hundreds. And we average about 40 cars that we impound every month. Sometime it might be 35, might be 37. And so we can do more and we will. We just have to, we're going to share what we're doing. We're going to tell these auto repair shops in a letter that when we catch you out there, we're going to, be heavy-handed in the dispatch of our duty. But we understand what the challenges are, and it's a work in progress.
I think telling them that those days are over with. They've been told repeatedly. We probably go back to every month when we brought this up, and they've been told, they've been warned, they've been told. No more telling. It's now hammered down. You're going to either play by the law, because it is a law. You can't double park. You can't park an untagged car on the road, a disabled car on the road. We got to quit being, the nice guy. They've been warned since last year, since you came on, and before with Harris was on, before that, when Sullivan was in charge. To me, warnings they're done and over with.
Commissioner, let me put this in the record.
Mission with counsel.
One of the things that we try and do, Ingraham, Lafayette, 46th Avenue, and Buchanan, we try to be a town that is flexible enough to understand that these business folks are trying to make a living too. We can hammer these folks, but we meet with them. We're setting up meetings now to meet with the folks on 46th Avenue. We're talking to the folks on Buchanan about a meeting. And we have to kind of give them an opportunity, because we understand we can do whatever you'd like to see us doing. But I just say that we're going to be talking to them 2 weeks from now. And when we tell them we impounded 300 of the cars to help them earn a living, it's going to be a challenge.
Well, to me, talking to everyone, last month you were talking to them, the month before you're talking to them, the month before that, we're all talk, no action.
We've taken a lot of actions as evidenced by the number of vehicles we impound.
Yeah, but by every one vehicle you impound, there's 5 to 6 more that are doing the same violation. Spring is coming, summer's coming, it's only going to get worse, and we need to put a stop to it. You enforce no parking. I mean, if I parked in the middle of my street out here, you guys would come ticket me and tow me right away. Wouldn't you? They park in the middle of Buchanan Street and people have got to weave around them. They're parking up on curbs. Enough's enough. As many calls as I get.
That's the same for Ingraham too.
Yeah, I mean, it's throughout the whole town, the businesses. I was over one time on Buchanan Street, and I tell you, the whole time I was on Buchanan Street, and it was many years, never did anybody park or double park or park beyond the telephone poles. The only time you saw a truck out on Buchanan Street, it was making delivery. And it looks like trash over there. You got car parts laying around. You got untagged vehicles, which our ordinance says you have to have a work order in every vehicle.
All I'm asking is this: if everybody agrees that we lower the hammer, then that's what we'll do. There won't be any opportunities for folks to move if they double parked and those kinds of things. I just want to know that we're all on the same page.
Put the hammer down and I mean, we've been nice so long and telling them, okay, next time, lower the boom on them and they'll get the message. And hopefully by the 1st of June, we're not going to have this conversation because they'll understand. Clean up this mess. Environmentally, you got oil going into the street. You got gas going into the street. You got antifreeze. It looks.
Ms. McCauley, if I could just, I'm sorry, if I could just interrupt, because I know you're gonna go, but, and you're right on target. I just want to say that, Chief, we don't need to tell you that.
No.
You are the chief of police, and we have said this before. We don't need to tell you to put the hammer down. You do what you know to do. Okay, you're the chief of police.
I got it.
All right. I'm sorry, Ms. McCauley, if you want to unmute, but I just had to say that.
Okay, you know how when I get going.
I know. So okay. You can unmute again. I mean, you can mute again.
I can mute myself again.
Yes, Ms. Chester has a question or comment.
Know that because these are businesses and so there's a lot of different cars because they're like employees' cars, there's customer cars they're working on. But I'm curious whether we can we change some of the code or regulations so that if a vehicle is ticketed more than once, then the fines can start to just go up and up and up, and it can become kind of exponentially more expensive. Because I would hate to think that these guys are now, in a sense, just calculating into the cost of doing business these tickets and maybe an impoundment here and there. But if there's ways to make it increasingly expensive, so I mean, I don't want to necessarily make it so expensive for a first infraction, but is that do they go up if you get, like, this is your second ticket now, and so it's double, this is your third ticket, so it's quadruple? Or
all right, so generally, it's always a different vehicle because these vehicles belong to the customer. And say company A has 10 cars that come in for service, and they're able to take in 5 or 6 of them. Then they will look for some place to park this car as opposed to letting the car drive off. And that's when you see the back of a car beyond the lamppost. I had this conversation with Rod earlier, and these other kind of parking violations. When we ticket the car and tow the car, the owner will come in, and so will the business owner. And they'll have to pay, there's a time limit for you paying the ticket. But if you want your car, you have to pay the tow fee and you have to pay the storage fee. But we're not seeing the same car. We're not seeing the same car time after time. They're different customers' cars.
Yeah.
They're not the cars of the workers. They're the customers' vehicles.
So Councilmember McCauley was reminding us that they're like any of those cars that are maybe not functioning are supposed to have a work order. And is it possible to link the infraction based on the work order back to the company? And then that way you'd be able to have, repeat offenders and perhaps make the consequence more serious as they offend over and over. I don't know.
Right. They have, the cars have work orders, but like I said, it's my experience, they're not the same cars that we ticket and tow. They're different cars.
Sure, but if
cars comes in, it seems like almost daily, except for those ones you see that look totaled. But we understand what we need to be doing. Yeah. I got it.
Yes. Thank you. It's just a major issue that we need to fix. Like ASAP though. Thank you, Chief.
Yeah. But I guess I'm just also curious if there are things that we need to change in the code to give you better tools. I don't know. You're enforcing the codes and regulations we have. We need to be changing those so that you have better tools in your toolbox.
Take a look at that. Okay.
Thank you. Good dialogue. Anything else? We're good?
I wonder how we kept Sue Ellen out of this whole conversation.
That's a good one too.
If somebody's blocking the roadway, you can tell them.
Thank you.
And ticket.
Yep.
Thank you. Thanks,
No one
Chief.
is gonna want to put up with that for very long. It's expensive and
Exactly. Yeah.
and aggravating. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
but you can't block the right of way.
Period.
Right.
I had to put that on there for you. Period. All right, Mr. Barnes.
Good evening again, Mayor. Thank you. The mayor and I had fun when you all were talking about walking in the community tonight. We threw some trees that we had left over from Saturday in the back of the gym, and we just drove around the town. And as we saw people in their yards that we thought maybe would like a tree, we went up and talked to them. We met some new residents that have just moved into town, and so it really was a wonderful feeling and a great experience to be able to interact in that way. And it's so nice with the spring weather to be able to be out and doing that. We had an amazing event on Saturday, 125 plus people, families, children, these little twins that had matching boots and shovels, and we planted 100 trees in the town of Edmonston. I think that's just an amazing feat, an accomplishment in about 3 hours. And so hats off to Councilmember Chester, to Councilmember Johnson, to Mayor Gant for all of the help, Avery for being a team captain and helping organize, and Bethany, our conservation corps member. It was just a wonderful, exciting time to do it. And I was walking with a child. This just struck me so well. He's probably 6 years old, and as most of you know, when I'm walking, if I see trash, I'm picking it up and stuffing it wherever I can stuff it. And he saw me do it, and he says, people shouldn't do that. And I said, you are absolutely right. He says, they should get in big trouble for putting trash on the street. And I said, oh, you are learning at a very early age. So good for you, and great for doing that. We also, hats off to the council again, and to the police department and Chief Gibson and Avery, particularly because Avery organized the caravan and the spring festival. And even though the rain tried to rain us out, it did not. We handed out over 300 bags of goodies to the children, and over 200 flower pots with seeds and test kits for COVID, and things to the residents through the caravan. So great, again, small town America at its best, and the smiles and the happiness that we had. We had a pop-up spring art festival in the park. We had 30 children there doing crafts with the Operation Arts program. So the art gallery got some new art for Saturday. So again, another wonderful event. Our next event is Earth Day. If you haven't signed up, go on the AWS website. It's only 10 to 12 this year, so they shortened down the time a little bit. Avery's our team captain, she and Mr. Johnson, and they will be gathering up the trash and picking up along the river. So that's a great thing. Avery tabulated the surveys that we did collect for ARPA, and I think she's prepared tonight to just give you a quick report of how that came out. Avery?
Sure. We got about 34 responses from residents in the community. We had the survey in both English and Spanish. And fortunately, we had folks who could help accommodate our residents in both languages. And from the survey, which asked people to prioritize the thoughts, the considerations the council had on what they would spend the ARPA funds on, we got 17 responses they either named flood mitigation measures as their first choice or second choice. We got 16 responses that indicated that the renovation of Town Hall will be either their first, second, or third choice. And we got 17 responses that indicated that either the Wi-Fi cafe would be their first, second, or third choice. And then all in the area where people provided ideas of their own, they were wide range from speed bumps, rental assistance, fixed lights in town, more activities and playground equipment for kids, English classes, increased garden space, a football field, provide reimbursement from the previous flood that we had a couple years ago. One was a rather odd one about, I think it was about a groundhog trapping. Well, we got some, that's right. And then we also got some more other serious ones, and maybe connecting the town, how to better connect the town with Highsville. So that's it in a nutshell, but we got a lot of good responses and people were very willing and to participate and talk with us and give us their feelings about that.
Wow, thank you, Ms. Avery. Any comments to that? That was good. You guys collected 34 surveys, so that was good. And I need to give myself some kudos. I don't know how many Miss Chester did, but I did 4 of the 34. Yeah.
That was awesome. I did have one other thing, Mayor. I sent it out today, but the town of Edmonston is featured in the Chesapeake Bay Trust monthly newsletter this week. We're on front page, and it's a very lengthy story about greening Edmonston with our innovative practices of the curb and gutter, pervious gutter on the street that we're using as a pilot project, and then our 30+ rain gardens that we have. So if you don't get a chance, or if you get a chance, please read that. It's great recognition for us, and I'm thankful to Sadie and at Chesapeake Bay Trust and all the folks at Prince George's County Stormwater Management Program that we work with.
I'm so glad we have a relationship with them. They provide wonderful grants. And I'm glad that they featured us because we do work hard and you work hard at that. So thank you for just bringing that to us. And I'll just mention that I know I said it to Mr. Barnes or someone else earlier, but I was talking to one of the volunteers on Saturday, and they were saying how we do great things and they just wanted to volunteer with us and how wonderful the town was. And I was just letting them know that every single time we do events such as that, anything with planting trees or seeds or just anything environmental, I learn. And so over the years, I've learned so much just from being, on the council or, volunteering or being mayor. I have learned, and I believe in education and knowledge so that our residents are able to buy into what we're doing. And I'm sold. So this town is great. And I think organizations like Chesapeake Watershed, Anacostia Watershed, Chesapeake Bay Trust, all of those organizations really help us. What is it? Tree City USA, all of those. I mean, we had the Department of Forestry out this weekend, and just watching them plant trees, I learned so much. So I'm thankful to be mayor, council, resident here in Edmonston.
Oh, and Mayor, one other thing, the engineer and I walked the town this week for sidewalks on this side of town placement and also
Right.
on the Gallatin Street rain gardens and sidewalks. Council Member Chester, you'll be happy to know the sidewalks going on the opposite side of the street of your house. So the rain gardens and everything else along that way creates too much of a problem. There will be some new rain gardens down on the other end of the street on 51st. But the great thing is when we do that, we get a lot of feedback from the residents on whether, they like the sidewalk idea, and they particularly whether they want to make sure they save a tree. There's a tree over here on Emerson that Mr. Guzman just does not want to disappear. It's been there longer than his house has been there. And so we'll come up with a strategy to try to go around that tree and create a bump out into the street and put down, there's a great rubber substance that you can put down around a tree to not disturb the roots and still put in a sidewalk that's ADA accessible. So.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we'll move to council dialogue. And if any council member has any input, Mr. Johnson?
Yes, I just got two things. Saturday when we was planting the trees over there on 51st and Buchanan with the auto shops, there's like a lot of trash over there along the 51st and Buchanan, alongside the creek. Mm-hmm. And if you go back up in there behind the shops, there's also, debris up in there too. I think that should be addressed a little bit more. But I said something to Eric, to the Corporal Bill, if he did anything about it, but to me, it seemed like I just got an excuse. He said there's a new residence in there, but that trash been there for quite a while. So if the trash is there now, it had to be there when the old residence was there. So I think that should be addressed a little bit better. And other than that, right along cleanup, the cleanup on the 23rd, not only should it be along the Anacostia, but I think it should be up on Kenworth Avenue too. Kenworth Avenue up there and also up there behind the guardrail up by the gas, by the Sunoco. Mm-hmm. That place is terrible up there too.
Okay.
So it's not just along the Anacostia. I think the whole town need to be addressed as far as the trash goes. Between Elizabeth Landing and Fountain Park, and up there by the the Sunoco gas station.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Any other council member, Ms. McCulley? Or you already?
I was going to say from Mr. Johnson, I know behind the houses here on 52nd, it's we'll get our spring residents. We'll be moving back in here soon. The space between Kenworth Avenue and the fences that back up all the houses here. It's a hotel motel, and that's where 90% of the trash, I think, comes. From there they go to Sunoco, they buy it. My backyard, I got beer bottles, water, food. They just throw it over the fence. So I agree with Mr. Johnson. It's a mess up there.
Thank you. Ms. Chester?
I have two items. One is that I have a resident who lives at the end of 51st Place, where it's on the other side of Crittenton. So it's kind of one of those last two houses on the street before it at a dead ends. And he was saying that they still are getting a lot of water runoff into their yard and sometimes into their basement when there's heavy rains. And he doesn't think that that storm drain there sucks enough water down or doesn't suck it down quickly enough. And is that something that he should be trying to contact WSSC to clean it out? Or is that something that our public works guys clean out?
That's a county, the storm drainage system in the town is the Prince George's County system. And so they did clean it, the whole system after the flood. One of the things I'm going to propose to you in the future here is to use some ARPA funds to come through and clean again. That particular drain, it functions well. It doesn't maybe function as fast as Jose would like it to function. It's got to go up quite a bit to go into his house. So it's got to be a really big rain to go up over his drive, because he's got a really steep drive kind of right there. But I have asked Charlie Griffith with Prince George's County Storm Drain to improve that drain, and they have put it on the list to do that.
Okay.
So that may help Councilmember Chester if they can make the opening, somewhat a little bit different. It's an old brick storm drain cover that's not very wide, and I'll reach back out to Charlie again and see if that can move up a little bit. But I know exactly what you're talking about and what Jose's talking about.
Yeah.
He's had those same conversations with me, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ellie, go ahead.
Oh, I had a second item, but if you want to talk about water, we can still do that.
Well, I was going to say the storm drain that Mr. Johnson was talking about behind the buildings on Buchanan Street, that belongs to the county also too, doesn't it? Because I know they come out once, sometimes twice a year and clean it out. That's all. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, the trash that Mr. Johnson's talking about is really not down in the drain. It's really between the buildings and the drain.
Okay.
At the very back of the building, and it's a lot. And so, yeah, it's debris of all kinds. So that's what he's talking about. But the storm drain, like you said, Betsy, the county does clean it a couple times a year. It could certainly be cleaned. It's a concrete storm drain right there behind the buildings on Buchanan.
Okay, thank you.
I got one more thing for Mr. Barnes.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, that
Get
whole,
a small pot and put 2 potatoes in it for me. Small.
Huh?
I'm sorry.
The mayor's cooking supper for us.
I was muted.
That curb situation over there on Decatur Street. When I was going up Decatur, I was going up, and the tractor trailer was coming down, and I barely had enough room without going in that hole. When's that hole gonna get fixed?
Oh, yeah, that's a Washington Gas service hole, and I asked Alex, their construction manager, about it. They had to order the panels. That particular hole is right in the middle of where one of the pervious pavement concrete panels is located, and so they had to order those panels from Pennsylvania. He has it as a priority repair and said it should be here either the end of this week or the first of next. So we've tried to keep cones in it, but the trucks just decimate the cones. We've tried a lot of different avenues, but Washington Gas is on top of it. They're just the holdup's been those concrete panels that we put into play with the pervious pavement.
They can't put like one of those big steel plates over it or something? I mean, it's ginormous.
It is big. It is really bad. I can ask Alex about that. I thought they could do some kind of temporary fill, but
yeah.
But I'll ask him again. I just talked to him yesterday about it because when I go over it every day, I walk by it every day. This week I've walked by it, and it just drives me crazy. So I agree with Mr. Johnson. I'll reach out to Alex again.
They're not allowed to create a hazard like that for any period of time.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah, you don't have room when a tractor trailer's coming down the street.
Or a bus, a school bus that's real wide, anything.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
My second point was, I was talking to Council Member Tuberville the other day, and we were kind of talking about now that the weather is nice and hopefully COVID is not resurging, but maybe trying to set up something like, we used to have those like walk and talk with the chief walks, but we were thinking maybe we could do that among ourselves, whether it be council members or Madam Mayor, or maybe some of the police officers who want to do it sometimes. Maybe not every single Friday, which seems like a big commitment, but maybe doing something once or twice a month and having it become kind of a regular thing so that residents know that it's happening. And if they have the time and want to get together and just chat, because we were thinking that would be a good way to, hear from residents and sort of expose our sort of selves more, but without doing it like in-person meeting and still being outside and taking advantage of the good weather for that.
I think it's a great idea. I like that, Hillary.
Yeah.
I missed some of it. You were saying that maybe on a Friday or another day, we kind of get outside and have an opportunity to talk to our residents in different areas of the town. Is that what you said?
Yeah, but we were thinking of doing like a loop on the trail, starting at Veterans Park, going to the end and coming back around, and something that becomes like really
like a walk. You mean a walk the trail? Yeah, walk the trail with the council or something like that.
The idea is that we'd be chatting, like doing a little exercise. Once that walking path is installed, we could do it there. But just to have it be like regular, like the first Friday or something like that, so that people know it's going to happen. We could take turns going. Or we could have like special guests this month.
I think that's wonderful.
We thought having it regular.
We used to do with Chief Harris.
Yeah.
Well, that turned a little negative, but yeah, I think that would be wonderful what you're talking about, Ms. Chester. Yeah, we did have a walk with the chief kind of thing, which was, I thought it was superb. I wanted to do it. But it kind of turned people off in a way. But if something like that, let's give that a try.
Yeah, because kind of good exercise for people.
Yeah, because we're a healthy community, but we want to push healthy. So yeah, let's give that a try.
Yeah. So we weren't sure like if it would be like early evening or like a Saturday morning or something. I don't know. We can.
It could be a Friday evening or Saturday morning.
Yeah. The only thing I would say is watch your quorum. Try to do it without a quorum. Otherwise, we're going to have to advertise it.
Well, that's what we want to do. We want to advertise it.
I understand. And that's fine if you all want to advertise it and do that. But, if that means that you have a quorum.
My thing is, and Sue Ellen, you can chime in. We wouldn't be meeting with them. She's talking about walking. And but I understand what you're saying, Mr. Barnes, and I'm saying Miss Sue Ellen, because 4 council members can be together, just like we do with the caravan, and we talk to our residents. So I'm thinking if we're walking a trail, it's walking a trail with the resident, not a group. I don't know if Miss Hillary was talking about a group discussion. You're talking about talking with the council while you're walking down the trail.
And for people to get to know each other, I mean, just
yeah.
I would be careful about that, because when you start talking about town business and when what the town could do for people's complaints, you're getting.
So the thing is, I heard what Mr. Barnes is saying, and I hear what you're saying, Sue Ellen. But the thing is, what Ms. Chester is saying, that the council members get out, or the police department, get out in the community. If it means to walk in a circle around the walk trail, that does not mean that we're discussing necessarily, we're not having a meeting. we're talking about whatever's going on in the community, what they want, what they like, what they don't like, where their kids are going for college, where their kids are going for high school. I don't feel safe here. That kind of one-on-one conversation.
But you wouldn't have to do it with 4 of you or 3 of you. You could do
Why
it with
not?
one council
Why not?
member
If 4
and a mayor, because you start getting into the issue of having a discussion about town issues. No matter
Not
what,
together.
no
agreeing.
matter how you couch it, Mayor. If you're walking with a resident and they start telling you all the problems of the community, you've suddenly now having a discussion about an issue that affects the town.
I don't think that's what she's saying. And Miss Chester, you can chime in. That is not what she's saying. It's for us to get out with the community and for them to get to know us.
How did we do those walk and talk with the chief? Like how?
Exactly.
There wasn't any council. There wasn't any council.
I was there.
I was there.
Salita was there. Sophia was there.
Not when they were on council.
I did a couple.
Yes, they were.
Okay, it is not a difficult thing
It's
to
not.
notify the public that you will be out in the community walking around. You should, if you're going to be available like that, you should tell people anyway, so that
Yeah.
anyone who wants that access can get it. And then
Yeah.
but advertising it and saying that's what you're going to be doing would be in essence advertising like you would for a meeting.
That's my point. That's
Yeah.
my point.
But it
completely.
is going to be advertised. That was the thing too. I mean, it's not
Yeah,
saying that.
I
Okay.
understood. So it's, and then
All right.
the minutes are that you went for a walk and talked to
Exactly.
people. Because you won't be taking any action there. So it's just you went for a walk and talked to people. So that's the safest thing to do. That's Rod's job to say and my job to say, the safest thing to do.
And it was going to be advertised anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Right.
okay, thank you, Ms. Chester, for that wonderful idea and the dialogue.
So maybe I'll connect with Rod to think about how to like actually organize and put it into action
Yeah.
and promote it and figure out when and how to get it out there before it gets too hot.
Today was
We're in
hot.
that weather sweet spot right now.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Okay. So, all right, that's it. No more council dialogue. I don't have anything. So if there isn't anything else that anybody wants to bring up, I will accept a motion to adjourn our wonderful meeting for this evening.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion made by Mr. Johnson. Is there a second?
I second the motion to adjourn.
All right, second by Ms. Chester. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining tonight, and have a pleasant evening.
You too.
Good night, everyone.
All right.